welcome. You'll have to excuse the style as I still try to figure out what look I'm going for when I'm doing my storytelling about things relating to wrestling where there is no video gameplay of me playing WWE 2K or anything else that may be out there or that is to come in the future. I have to be very careful and selective with what I have running in the background because I don't want to get a copyright strike. I've had 2K copyright strike my channel with a hard strike for merely mentioning that there was a leak for the trailer WWE 2K22 at the time last year, and it came out before the Royal Rumble. Didn't even share the link, didn't even show the trailer, and I got a strike. Those bastards made the list, trust me. So with Brandon Does Everything and all that, he'll oftentimes show clips of actual real wrestling footage, and he's a huge name, in that world of wrestling, so I don't know if he's got like an official sponsorship, a free pass. Yeah, we'll let him, show off a little bit of wrestling footage. I unfortunately can't do that. You're stuck looking at this, and whatever else it is I'm going to have in the background, maybe show like an image here and there. I don't know, but I'm going to have to start figuring some of that stuff out, which I don't have all the answers to right now. But with that said, with my channel that I've been on for 4.5 years, it's not really going in the direction that I was hoping. It's making me some money every month, and I'm very grateful for that. I got monetized within 5 months. I started around the time that Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, the video game. And then I was kind of like all over the place. I was talking politics. I was doing goofy Batman impressions. I was talking about patch updates, teaching you how to edit your NBA roster lineup in a game. Then all of a sudden, I would be playing Call of Duty. Here's what you can do when you're offline. And people were subscribing to me for just thanking me as a thank you, essentially. But they were never coming back, as only 1% of my subscribers watch my content. So I figured, you know what? If a guy like Brandon Does Everything can get that far, and no, I'm not delusional. I'm not even saying I can do 2% of what that guy's doing, as an example, or Chris Danger. But I figured, since my dream is dead in the water, okay, and that's not being negative, it's a reality. I'm pushing 45 this November. I can't train to be a wrestler. I got a lot of problems upstairs with bipolar, anxiety, depression, paranoia. Yeah, that sounds like a recipe for success, okay? And that's unfortunately affected a lot of my life, right? I've been on disability for practically more than half my life now. And that's why it took me so long to even do anything on YouTube to begin with. I would watch all these people make it big, your PewDiePies, your Boogie 2988s and all that, and I was like, yeah, who's going to want to listen to me? But like I said, I ended up semi-making it, but not quite to the level I wanted. And I never really got to do on that channel things that I really enjoyed. I enjoy talking. I always wanted to have like my own talk show or like a podcast, whether it was something like Howard Stern or Joe Rogan, or being an interviewer like Mean Gene Okerlund, whether it was being a commentator like Michael Coles or Jesse the Body Ventura or Gorilla Monsoon or any of the greats, or Corey Graves. I always wanted to have something to do with wrestling. I'm not saying I have or had something to offer, but I had trained. I was in martial arts for years. I used to teach martial arts. I had no idea how to get into wrestling. I just didn't have a clue. It's not like I could just call Bret the Hitman Hart and say, yeah, I'm in Canada too. I want to do what you do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know. So that has passed me by, and recently, I just came across Brandon Does Everything, and it done something on me. It made me realize, you know what? You got this guy who's so passionate about wrestling, and all he does is wrestling. Now he's going over to wrestlers' houses. He's playing video games. He's buying $20,000 tickets. He gets to meet and greet all the wrestlers. They know who he is. And I just think that that's such an amazing life. I'm not saying that's ever going to happen to me, and no, I'm not delusional. I'm not expecting to even reach 1% of what he does. But I'm also never going to reach that 1%, if ever at all, by just talking about it and not doing it. So here I am, half a decade into my YouTube journey and I feel like I haven't really reached what I want to do. I have all these different passions. I love wildlife, photography, wrestling, guitar, comedy. Comedy and wrestling have to be my two biggest ones, along with, like, the whole guitar thing and nature and all that. But I was just done. So that's when yesterday I was like, you know what? I got this weird YouTube channel, which I'll explain in another video some other time, that got added to my Google account that encompasses some of the other channels that I have, and I can't delete it because it acts as an anchor. And if I delete that channel, which is this one here, it's a personal, not a branded YouTube channel, but I don't want to talk about that because it's going to make this video longer than it has to be. I decided, you know what? I'm not going to delete it. I'm not going to create another channel. So that's why this one got randomly made in April of 2022. I didn't make a channel in 2022. My main YouTube channel was made in like 2007, 2 years after like YouTube came out. I was like, you know what? I'm going to start commenting and all that. So you have to make a channel. But I never uploaded anything until, like, basically Halloween of 2018, around that time when Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, like I said. So all this time I'm like, Brandon Does Everything is living the dream. And I'm like, man, if I could just once in a blue moon have a small interaction with somebody in the wrestling world, whether it's AEW, WWE, Impact Wrestling, I don't care who it is. To me, would be like speechless. Do you know what I mean? Like I have interactions with like Sergeant Slaughter, sometimes JBL, little quick snippet, interactions on Twitter. And I have to admit, it's amazing. I don't go and start bragging about anybody like, oh, look, I got a message from so-and-so. But it feels good because these are people that I looked up to. I've been watching wrestling since Bob Backlund was on his 2,000-plus day championship reign, right? Back in 82. So I've been watching wrestling for over 4 decades, and I've paid very close attention to it. That doesn't mean I have an understanding of how the business works or any of that kind of stuff. But I'm just a crazy diehard fan of all things wrestling. Literally, ATW, the acronym for my YouTube channel. And I felt like I'm getting old. Like I said, it's too late for me to realistically ever get involved in professional wrestling in any capacity whatsoever. Whether it's being, like I said, a Corey Graves, Michael Cole, or being a ring announcer, just anything that has to do with wrestling, being a manager or actually being a wrestler. It's over. It's done. That ship sank. Not only did it sink, it never even got built. The boat was never even constructed. Do you know what I mean? And that's just being realistic with myself. It's not being negative. Nothing can be done about it. And even if something could, my unfortunate anxiety and bipolar is probably going to get in the way of that anyways. So in the comfort of my own home, where it's nice and quiet, nobody's around, I'm in my safe space. Okay? And if I can virtually, like I said, connect with people that are passionate about the wrestling business, people like Brandon Does Everything, or Chris Danger, or some other people, Mastodon, I think is his name. I just started kind of coming across some of these different creators that have to do with wrestling. To me, that would just be amazing. I would feel a type of connection with the world. Like I said, I've been on disability for over 20 years, and I don't really socialize with anybody. So that can, unfortunately, at times affect you mentally. It's not really healthy, which is why I spend so much time on Twitter, because unfortunately, that's essentially my only friend. That's why I play World of Warcraft, because it's an online game, and I'll interact with a couple of people on there because it makes me feel like I'm connected to the world. So that is probably why it's a bigger deal for me when I get a like or a retweet or a quick, hey, Filminator, my nickname, where have you been? Like when Sergeant Slaughter had tweeted me some while back when I said, hello, I hope you're having a good day. Like the fact that he even remembered who the hell I was, that was like just beyond anything. It was absolutely wild. To me, it was like winning the lottery. It was just incredible, like that feeling, right? So I say so a lot, and I'm going to try not to do that. Essentially, that was the final nail in the coffin, because I normally don't watch YouTubers, no offense, because I'm too busy trying to make something of myself. But I started to branch out, looking at what other people are doing, how they're going about doing it, which makes me afraid sometimes because I don't want to inadvertently, accidentally, not on purpose, start copying some of these people. But I took a look, like I said, Chris Danger, Brendan does everything, and I'm just like, oh my God, I want that life. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not realistic for me to have the BDE life, but to have 1% of it, maybe? I don't know. I'd like to think if I can taste that on a scale of 1 to 1,000, just a 1, I'd like to think maybe that's realistic. Because on a scale of 1 to 1,000, to actually have something to do with the wrestling world and business, the realism of that is a 0. And I have to live with that. And I've been living with that my entire life. So I did it again. Anyhow, that's a part of my motivation. It's just something I enjoy a lot. There are a few other things that I'm borderline equally passionate about, like I said, especially comedy. That's a big thing. Comedy, guitar, nature with wildlife, and wrestling. And definitely if I could have snapped my fingers in a parallel universe when I was younger, knowing what I know today, I would have probably have pursued wrestling in some capacity. I'm not saying I would have made it. I'm not saying I would have been successful. That is not at all what I'm saying. But I would have made an actual, honest, actual attempt at it. So I have to live with that. So now, the ultimate dream, realistically now, is just being myself. And if I can be, as I say, successful, because depends how you look at it. I'm not successful on YouTube on my first channel. But whatever level that is, whatever you want to number it on whatever scale, if I can make this channel as good as my other channel with more consistent views, with better subscriber to view ratio, right? And I can crank in 250,000 views all the time like I do with my other channel, well, then I'd be doubling my income, right? Money's a huge motivation. There's no two ways about it. I barely make, in American dollars, because most of my viewers are going to be American, I barely make $10,000 to $11,000 a year, maybe 12,000 American a year. And that is with my disability and then them taking half of my income from YouTube as I report my earnings every month. So that's why when I saw that video from Brendan Does Everything on his channel, it's like I spent $20,000 and that's 20,000 US. I was like, wow. I was like, damn. Of course there was some jealousy and enviness there. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't. I mean, that ticket alone is like, you know, almost 3 years worth of money or whatever. I'm not too good at math, but at least 2.5 years of income for me. So, wow. So yeah, there it is. That was long-winded and almost half the length of a South Park TV show. I'm going to end it here. I don't even know if this video made any sense, to be honest with you. But there it is. As always, if you liked the video, go ahead, give it a thumbs up, as it does help with the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. And if you didn't like the video, that's okay. You can go ahead and give it a thumbs down, and you'll get a little bit of this. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, naturally, that would be great. Again, gameplay, rants like this, mixed between just my bald pumpkin head and sometimes me more in the corner and then playing a video game. There's going to be a mixture of this. Then feel free to subscribe. I am going to remain with just wrestling. Take care. Maybe I'll see some of you in the next one. Bye for now.